Welcome to this edition of the virtual SpaceTV, aired for the first time from our new studio. I am Amanda Bush, your host. This broadcast is brought to you by Hobby Space and Binary Space. Please note that the show is experimental and was generated automatically by software without human interaction. As long seen in science fiction movies such as Star Wars, people should travel to and from space in vehicles that are used repeatedly just like a jet aircraft. Unfortunately, the physics of chemical rockets make this very difficult to do in practice. A huge amount of fuel is needed to get each kilogram of mass to orbit. Most rocket vehicles have used multiple stages, in which parts of the rocket provide thrust to accelerate it until they run out of fuel and are then cast away to reduce weight. While multi-stage expendable rockets can maximize the payload put into orbit, the cost of throwing away a brand new rocket every time is the primary reason for the high cost of spaceflight. The expenses for the fuel are actually a tiny fraction of the total cost. This week, Elon Musk of SpaceX announced that they plan to develop a fully and rapidly reusable version of their Falcon 9 rocket and Dragon crew module. Each of the Falcon's 2 stages and the Dragon will return to Earth with powered landings. The exact details of how they will do this, and still get a substantial payload to orbit, have not been released. However, their calculations and simulations show that it can be done, Elon noted. Now we need to make sure that those simulations and reality agree, because generally when they don't, reality wins. The space shuttle was partially reusable, but not only did it throw away an expensive external tank, it took several thousand people multiple months to refurbish and rebuild the system for the next flight. To obtain low costs, it is crucial that a reusable system be turned around quickly for the next flight by a small team. Musk believes, if they succeed at this, the cost of getting to space will drop by as much as a factor of 100 from the current standard rate of several $1,000s per kilogram. While a reusable Falcon 9 won't be as simple to fly as the Millennium Falcon, it would still revolutionize space travel and help open up the solar system to humanity. Let us now have a closer look on the reusable launch system concept published by SpaceX some days ago. Another route to reusability is by first mastering suborbital reusable space vehicles, and then building on that technology to get to orbit. There were a couple of recent developments with suborbital space vehicle projects. Virgin Galactic and Scaled Composites have been flight testing the Spaceship 2 rocket vehicle and its White Knight 2 mothership for the past year. The first rocket-powered flights should begin in early 2012. The long-term plan is to operate a fleet of Spaceship 2 and White Knight 2 vehicles at spaceports in New Mexico, Sweden, UAE and other sites around the world. Virgin and Scaled thus created the Spaceship Company to mass-produce the vehicles. The Spaceship Company recently had a dedication ceremony in Mojave, California, for the opening of their first hangar factory. XCOR Aerospace, another company based in Mojave, recently announced a wet lease agreement with Space Expedition Curaçao, SXC, in which XCOR will operate their Lynx suborbital rocket plane from a SXC facility on the Caribbean island Curaçao, starting in 2014. The agreement includes a substantial payment to XCOR, which will allow the company to complete construction of the prototype Lynx Mark I vehicle. Flight tests should begin in the fall of 2012. The Mark I vehicle will be followed by the operational Lynx Mark II vehicle, which will take a pilot and paying passenger on a suborbital trip to space. The winged vehicle will take off from a runway under the power of a liquid-fueled rocket and travel up to 100 kilometers, and then return back to the same runway. Space travelers most always say that their time in orbit was one of the most exciting and enjoyable experiences of their lives. A particularly popular activity is simply to watch the spectacular views of Earth as their spacecraft traverses over an infinitely diverse array of patterns of lands, oceans, clouds, storms, aurora, and other phenomena. Recently, NASA has posted several time-lapse videos of images as seen from the ISS. Especially popular are the nighttime videos of city lights, lightning, and aurora. Just as people travel the world to observe wonderful sights like the Grand Canyon or Victoria Falls in person, people will one day travel to orbit to observe wonderful sights like these. I'm looking forward to seeing you again for our next show, scheduled for end of October. Have a good time.